Destiny refugees, I have a question for you. Do you feel abandoned? Do you feel like Bungie has betrayed you? Do you feel like Sony has betrayed you and milked you for all that they feel like you were worth? Do you feel like Marathon is probably the bet that they shouldn't be making? Even though Marathon is, a solid game for those who enjoy the extraction shooter genre. Are you looking for a new home? Well, if that's the case, I just might have the game for you. And don't worry, it's not one of those, hey, you guys need to come to Warframe videos. Because me, myself, I'm not much of a Warframe guy. This is the First Descendant, and it's free to play right now, most likely on your main platform. Let's go ahead and talk about it. Gamers and gamettes, what is going on? My name is Tanek027, and welcome back to another video. And guys, in today's video, I want to talk to y'all more about the First Descendant. However, if you want to stay updated on all things the First Descendant, make sure you are liking today's video, subscribing to the channel if you are new, and let's go ahead and get on into today's topic. So, Destiny, guys. First and foremost, my condolences and everything for the stuff that's going on. I'm going to pray that Sony and Bungie wisen up and make Destiny 3. And that way, you guys can look back at this video and just and laugh one day. Be like, ha, ha. Y'all remember the time that one YouTuber thought things were just over for us and he recommended that one game? But until then, here's a little something that you can salivate over. So, Warframe's a great game. Don't get me wrong. I love Warframe. Digital Extremes, they are some of my favorite game developers. I can't wait to play Soulframe. They do amazing work. If Warframe's your thing, by all means, go for it. But if you want a looter shooter that's, kind of a hybrid between, Destiny and Warframe, borrows a little bit of features from both games and feels a bit more familiar to you, you may want to check out the First Descendant. Now, first and foremost, obviously, it's third person and not first person. Hopefully, that's not something that bothers you too much. Now, you're going to notice that in terms of monetization, some of the grind in the First Descendant and how you unlock a lot of the different descendants, aka the classes, it's very similar to how Warframe works. You can either buy these characters or you can grind them. One thing I will say is the grind for the descendants in the First Descendant is not as harsh as it can be in Warframe. Now, don't get me wrong, there are some rare and grindy pieces in here that will take you hours, but from my personal experience, from what it's like building a Descendant to building a Warframe, I had a much easier time on the First Descendant. Now, the main reason I want to talk to you guys about the First Descendant is because I know you Destiny guys, I know y'all had more so of like an MMO looter shooter at the end of the day. You guys like really tough dungeons. You guys like farming a lot of gear. You guys like big bad bosses. You like raids and all that stuff. The First Descendant offers a lot of those things. And they even, I want to say last year or maybe the year before, they had actually added a pretty big raid scene in the First Descendant. There's single player dungeons, there's multiplayer dungeons, there's big four player, like, just giant boss battles with crazy mechanics. There's all kinds of different cool activities here for you to do. There's a social hub. There's no character creation, and that's the one thing it's missing from Destiny. Destiny's one thing, even though there was only just a handful of classes, and those classes all had a variety and a billion different ways you could play them. So I don't even know if it's fair to say that Destiny only had 3 classes, because at the end of the day, there was so many ways to build the classes in Destiny. So I don't know. I'll let you guys decide that. But there's so many different descendants and play styles and different elements you can add on your characters, weapons, and different builds and stuff like you can do for them, guys. It is unreal. There's a billion different descendants. Now, just like in Warframe, it does the typical thing, like how there's a regular Warframe and there's a Prime version of that Warframe. Well, same thing in the First Descendant. You have the regular version of the Descendant, and then you have the ultimate version of the Descendant. As you guessed it, the ultimate versions, obviously, more powerful, more upgradable, and it'll be the stronger version in the long run. When you first unlock the character, it may not seem that way, but as you level up and get it more endgame tuned, you'll be able to tell that that Descendant is a lot more powerful. I just feel like the First Descendant is a looter shooter that's going to offer a lot more to Destiny fans than Warframe would. Don't get me wrong. Warframe has great story content. There's tons of different things to do in there. But like I said, from what I can see, and I haven't played Destiny, for a long time. I played Destiny 2 in its very, very early days, through the launch all the way up to, I believe, the second expansion, if I'm not mistaken. I stopped somewhere between the first and the second expansion with Destiny. I'm not completely sure how far I got in Destiny 2. I played a lot of Destiny 1, did the Vault of Glass when it first came out and everything. Had a ton of fun with that. But the experience I've got from Destiny 1 and 2, you guys see a lot more of, like a lot of how MMO players are. You guys seem to enjoy, a lot of dungeons and raid-like content, farming gear from, the hardest bosses and stuff like that. And I just feel like the First Descendant offers a lot more of that than Warframe. Now, don't get me wrong. Some of the players in the First Descendant get their builds and everything so good that they say a lot of content's easy. And that's one complaint I have gotten some of the First Descendant videos I've made, checking the game out during different years to its release and stuff like that. That's one similar comment I always get is, hey, I'm bored, there ain't much to do, I can one-shot this boss, stuff like that. And I've seen some crazy build videos online. Some people taking down, the toughest bosses by themselves within seconds. So don't get me wrong, I do think that's one little issue that the First Descendant may have. If they still do, I'm not completely sure, because I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I'm pretty behind on the game right now. The last time I actually played the First Descendant was shortly after Nell came out, and that's why you guys see me doing the gameplay that you see right now of me leveling Nell. But I'm just saying that the First Descendant, is more of a dungeon and raid focused kind of looter shooter, and I feel like Destiny fans would really enjoy this. Not to mention the different stuff that you can do with all the different Descendants, the way you can customize them and add different like clothings, outfit styles, hairstyles, and everything like that. Like I said, there's no character creation, but if you were to take a Descendant into a lobby fully customized, strip their name away and their abilities, you wouldn't even be able to tell them apart half the time or which Descendant they actually are, because people customize them that much. There's a lot you can do with the characters in this game. It has that really cool expression that that Destiny had, where you could really express yourself and show off your character. And like I said, guys, it's really dungeon and raid focused, and I think Destiny fans would really enjoy the First Descendant. I know I harped on that point a lot, but that's kind of the main thing that I want to stretch in this video. Let me know if you think I'm right. Let me know if you think I'm wrong. Let me know down in the comments below. Y'all enjoyed today's video? Smash that like. I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace out. Have a good one.